Hello everybody, it's Phil the Miniature Model Maker coming to you in this planned video. Oh, now we're going live. Alright, so this video is planned, unlike the one you may have seen something for earlier today. I got a request from another channel that I like to talk to. He also does Tau. It's Red Blur Gaming. Pretty nice Australian guy. He wanted to see how I did things, but it was really early in the morning for me, and I wasn't fully prepared to do what I needed to do. But now I am. It's later in the day, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with this. So first thing, you wanted to see how I paint my towel, and I do that by starting with a black primer, just a plain black primer. Forget the gold flecks. I had a paint stir accident. And then I will coat that with a green color, in this case, or a shadow undercoat, which is a dark color of the same type that the main color is going to be. In this case, it's nocturne green. And then I'll take my various sponges and other tools and things and apply the main color. In my case, being careful to use something that's much brighter than the shadow undertone. I do that because I'm going to be applying enamel washes, which will really bring the brightness down. So if you can compare this to this, we can see the difference in how that goes. And this color here is the shadow undertone with the enamel over it. And if you look closely, because I'm stippling and using sponges, they're shadows and under, not highlights, shadows, and little areas of brighter and darker that give kind of a blend, as if you had gone from a base and layered up to get your highest highlights. This adds a bit of visual interest for me and makes it look weathered and beaten up once the enamels get on. So the stage I'm at now is I have gone through, I've done my priming. I forgot to apply the green. I got a little trigger happy, so this is just the Lorne Forest green over black, which is why it looks a little bit different. I've gone through and applied the nocturne green to some areas and then have sponged over it. Basically went through and panel lined everything or hit areas where shadows would be stronger or I couldn't get the sponge and whatnot. Like in here, I went back through and added the green. And now we're at the point where I'm going through and blacking out all of the areas that are going to be metallics or gray or the sept color, because that gives me a consistent undercoat to work with, and it just helps things look better overall. So here we go. I hope you're having a good day if you're watching this. And it's overcast and about to rain day where I am, which is perfect for painting. And maybe I'll be able to get this guy close to being done, or at least to the point where I can put enamels on it, and that's a good point. Good place to be for me. Because if that's the case, it'll be at the same level as almost everything that I've got for my current project. And then I can just apply the washes and grimes and everything all at once and be on the same step with everything, which makes me happy. Oh my goodness, these. There we go. So I'm a bit towed out after doing all of the foot soldiers. Last month I got 10 fire warriors done, half of a squad, or a squad of pathfinders half done. And this month I got a squad of breachers, and that squad of pathfinders up to almost up to full standard, where I'm ready to enamel. And then I got 6 other special weapons guys also up to almost enamel ready. I need to do a little touching up and highlighting of cloth. But other than that, everybody's almost in the same place, including hairs. I don't think I'll ever have a model that doesn't have a bunch of hair on it. I do my best, keep my desk clean, but it's just not possible. I have cats and everything, and they just contribute everywhere around the house. There's nothing I can do to stop it. So if you're watching this and you're interested in seeing my whole army, the collection, it's mostly, almost entirely unpainted, except for the things that I've just mentioned. I do have a video on that. It's in a couple different parts. The first part talks about the army itself and shows off the models that I've got. The second part talks a bit about how I got into the hobby. Oh, I forgot. The first part also includes how I designed the army, my thought process in how I collected it and what I wanted it to be, what the overall theme was. And then the second part talks a bit about how I got into the hobby and a little bit more about the lore of the cadre. And then the third part goes into Stillmania, gets a little philosophical. But I think these days, with everything going on with Warhammer and people being dissatisfied with much of what's going on, awareness Stillmania could help out. Following Stillman's method and knowledge of what he espoused could help a number of people out, I think. It certainly helped me and provided motivation for me. And if me talking about it can help somebody else out in the same way, then I'm very happy to do so. These little areas. I may be quiet while painting some of these smaller things where I have to be careful. I can't walk and talk at the same time. So I'm at the point on these things where I don't want to be doing any more, don't want to do any more cleaning up. They're mostly at a good point, so I don't want to have to go back through and add more to the base coat. Behold the YouTube's Valhalla, yes. I am repeating the effort from this morning with a bit more planning and intention than we had before. And hoping that Red Blur will see this and he'll get out of it what he wanted to get out of it. That's way too thin. Actually, you know what? I probably should just be using the contrast paint. That would have been smart of me. Oh well, I want to use the I want to use this little bit of a bad and black up anyway, so we're okay. Oh, are we done? Is it time to make another? Nope, not quite. We're getting awful close though. It's like when you get down to the last dregs of a ketchup bottle. Just squeezing it, trying to get out the last little bits. I've gotten so used to doing my hobbying while on stream and stuff that it feels weird to just do stuff on my own. It's like if I'm painting something, like I feel like I should be showing it, and I'm not showing a very good scene there. Now it's a beautiful view of the base. Oh, and viewers, just so you know, I am doing this whole project up to a decent tabletop standard. I'm the kind of person that if I don't limit myself, I will obsess over details and things and over paint, overwork a model, and never get anything done. I want to I want to get the army up to looking good. Good is good enough for now. I can come back later, always come back in the future and um, add details. As wiser people than I have said, perfect is the enemy of good. And good is good. It's good enough. Yes, there's going to be lots of sighs. I'm holding my breath while doing this. lots of catching my breath. And I'm trying to follow the same general paint scheme that I've done on previous stealth suits. They had portions of their in well, how can I say this? Their undercarriage is gray and then cloth is black, because there are still cloth sections or not metal armor sections on stealth suits. So I'm generally trying to follow that scheme. I'm not sure which of these parts are going to be metallic and which of them are going to be gray. But I know they're not going to be this green color, so they get their black paint. And if you like this sort of top-down video, long form, no edits or few edits, and like Tau, Red Blur has a rather extensive playlist where he's gone through all of the process for him building his tournament army. And I think he's got a couple games on there, and now is going through his expansion of the force. So I highly recommend giving him a check out too. And I need to go pick a different brush, I think. I'm getting into the more detailed parts where I don't need my somewhat split basing brush causing troubles. Problem is, this has got such good coverage that I want to use it, but I need to be smart and go to a different. Man, I'm seeing so many hairs on this thing. Is this the tortoise or the hare? Yes, it's both. Painted like a tortoise, covered in hair. So why do I do live streams like this more or long form videos where I'm painting? So folks can see how long it takes. There are very good painting tutorial channels out there by people who are much better painters than I. And they edit. And they edit well. They make very, very good content. But after watching them myself for a long time, and I still watch them, and talking with people who have said, "Oh, I've watched so and so and this channel and this channel and this channel," and they do it so fast. Like, no, 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 folks, no. They do it really slow. It takes them a long time, but it's that's their livelihood, and they have to do the really high production value edited stuff for the views. But unfortunately, it gives people an incorrect impression that painting is fast. And it's not. Especially the really good painting. It takes a long time, and I want people to see that, and I want them to know that they're not doing anything wrong. Because I've heard that too. It's like, yeah, well, I'm so slow. Why am I failing? You're not failing. You're doing it exactly right. That's miniature painting is slow. It's detailed. It's painstaking, painful, at times. And I know it's not the most engaging content. That's why those folks who edit get all the views, because it's much more interesting and exciting. And their stuff, frankly, looks better. But my whole goal with this channel is to help beginners, help intermediates, or just help people coming back into the hobby like I am, people at my level, learn new things while I'm learning new things, teaching them, helping them while I'm learning and have things to teach and learn and impart all of that stuff. And to let them know that that they're not failing. Try and be try and be that anti-social media, the anti-Instagram money shot type stuff. In that, and to know that tabletop standard doesn't mean bad. It just means that you're not going way far above and beyond to make a display or competition winning piece. To me, tabletop standard means having good smooth coats, having good coverage, applying the proper technique to the proper place, and using the correct tool for the job. But, not spending 80 hours glazing and wet blending and getting everything just so that a judge might look favorably on it. And also to help people who are painting armies figure out where they can find efficiencies. They can skip steps or be messy at certain times and places in order to save time, and get their models painted for the table. Because ultimately, isn't that what these are for? Well, ultimately, their entire purpose is to make GW money. No, I'm kidding. To enjoy the process, whatever that part of the hobby is for you. If it's the building and painting, fantastic. If it's the building but not painting and playing, that's fine too. All the various permutations of that, because it is still a game. Okay, we're going to try something new here, folks. Let's see if if I can find it. A little brush job. Are you gone? I don't know where it went. There it is. This little guy. This is a nail art brush I got off Amazon recently in a packet of like 100 of them. for very cheap, and I want to see how well it'll do on these bigger panels. Okay, not bad. Not bad at all. Yeah, I'll take that. Like I was just saying, using the right tool for the job, these things are made to be painting long, single long strokes. So if you're doing a big line, or you have the inside of one of these circles to be doing, that's exactly what they're for, and they're really good at. And when they're in the area of 5 cents a piece, it's kind of hard to go wrong. Only thing is they're a bit springy. So I am getting a little paint around the edge of some of these. But that's not going to be too troublesome to clean up. No, I'm not going to go through and hand panel line all of these. I'm just cleaning up edges that I didn't get painted with the bigger brush. And then slopping around down here in the bottom of these things. See, like I said, right there. That sprang out. Gave me a little bit of a mess, but we can get it cleaned up. So I could come back later with the metallic and do the do the inside of these things, but I'd rather do it with the black because it'll look a little bit more shaded and deep than if I tried doing the metallic. So same amount of time, same amount of effort is going to go into it, but I'm being a little bit more strategic with the colors. That'll let me be less careful or less precise with the metallic, and it'll still look good. Because I can come back, I can use this bigger brush for the other metallics and just coat the upper raised areas and have less risk of getting paint where I don't want it if I do it that way. Same thing here with these ankles. Alright. It was you that had the issues, wasn't it? Here we go. And black, this black has better opacity than the gray I've got. So I can get the things covered that I want covered with fewer coats. And make it look slightly better. But my God in heaven, there's so many friggin' hairs. Where's my toothbrush? See if I can at least smooth some of them out. Although I'm feeling this is a lost cause. Okay, well, it's gonna have to be enough. I'm gonna have to be satisfied with that. So let's go now here to the symbol on the chest. Make sure that that's really good. And I'm enjoying these little brushes. high quality natural hair number 1, number 0 brush is better. But that's just not within my realm of possibility at the moment. And these little brushes are better for artifacts and when I'm using enamels and oils and things. Let's get it. Is this dry? Yeah, it's dry. Let's get a bit of this. There. And do a little touching up. Okay. Okay. Alright, dude, enough is enough. Stop, 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 stop. Let the enamel do its work. Alright, next is metallic, I think. I've still got some black. Let's go ahead and get that down in there. And this is exactly what I was saying earlier. I will overwork a model to death if I let myself. So I have to just stop, trust the process, and know that I'll get there eventually. See, and this is what I'm saying. I can, because I was careful with the black, I can just kind of ring around the rosy here and leave a little bit of a black um, barrier, not barrier, border, and not risk getting the tip of this metallic paint all over the green. And if I got a little bit of the black on the green, I'm not too fussed because there's going to be a wash going over all that and that will blend it in and it'll kind of look like it's meant to be there. It'll come out looking more like just a plain shadow effect than an oopsie. The best thing is, I really only need to do one coat. Thank you, little motorcycle car driving by. Because the bigger areas are going to get dry brushed. So this will look pretty similar to the dry brush metallic, since it's just one coat and it's fairly thin. Ah, there we go. It was bound to happen. But that was, see how easy that was to clean up? Just boop and we're done. As long as I'm not rushing myself, is when I rush, I lose awareness and I lose brush control. That's when the mistakes happen. That's when paint gets places it shouldn't be. It's faster to take your time and do it once than have to come back through and clean up over and over and over and over and over and over again. The cool thing about using the enamels and these metallics is if you don't have to highlight because you'll be tinting everything down, shading everything down using a reductive pass on the enamels will bring the areas that you want to look highlighted up to a highlight. So it's both the shade and highlight at once. Alright, and you do need some cleaning up here. That was a little small and a little hard to get to. I could ignore it, but I know that if I did, I would be angry at myself in the future, and I don't want that. Oh, there's something I missed. Something I missed there too. I thought I checked everywhere, but I didn't. I can't get my brush down there. Okay, now the fun part begins. We take the thin stuff and just slop it everywhere in there. There we go. Easy peasy. Back to metallics. And a little bit more clean up here. Whoa. No, we don't want you there, paint. What was that all about? Okay. I'm just kind of lightly feathering over the top of these little, whatever they are. Not really a dry brush, just hitting the top surface of them. Give them a hint of metal. And the same thing with this. I want to leave that black in the recesses. And if some gets down in there, it's not a big deal. As long as we're just mostly softly hitting the top. Same thing here, although I am going to do kind of a dry brush. Kind of. There's still a fair amount of paint on this and quite a bit of moisture. I just want it grainy. I don't want it as smooth as a regular coat would be. And then I come through and do the same with all this, but a different brush. And this is pretty much a dry brush. But making sure to keep moisture on the brush. I'm using the really soft, flat makeup brush. Because it allows me to use soft, light strokes. And gives kind of a neat little scratchy texture. And I can use it in two directions. So the broader panel for larger application, or this way instead of this way for a little bit more targeted. And the thing I like about the dry brushing is that it helps to maintain shadows. And that's a big thing for me. Color separation and shadows. Where did you go? There you are. And I think we're past the ugly phase, folks. Where did you go? I'm always misplacing my brushes. And this little thing does pretty good at stippling too. I do have my more purpose-built round tip dry brushes, but they don't do quite as well for what I'm trying to get. This little makeup brush is the better tool for the job. And one of the things about my painting style, if you're coming in later to this, is I use the enamels as a color in the scheme. They're not just washes, they're not just grime. They do that too, but they also provide color. So I plan accordingly. I know that the brown wash, the grime, is going to add a bit of green to this metallic and a bit of brown. So I can just go ahead and hit the parts with just one coat of metal and we're okay. Just the metal over black. Because then once the enamel comes in, it'll add some extra subtle color, some subtle extra color. It's not extra subtle. To fill in there the space that was left by just the metal and black. It's nothing fancy, nothing even exciting really to most people. It's just a basic army painting technique. If you want to see it fancy, go check out the Grimdark Compendium or the Feral Painter. They're the ones who really get into enamels and all that good stuff. All right, go through. That's good. Don't overwork it. Don't add too much. All right, time to get the other brush. Where did you go? I can use you, but I want to be using you? No. Where's the smaller one? There you are. Now the smaller ones that came with this Artifice set aren't, they're not great for dry brushing on a larger scale, because they don't have quite the round shape that the bigger ones do. But they're good at getting in some of these smaller areas and applying a bit of paint. They're better stippling brushes, really. Okay, that's getting everywhere. We're not ready for that yet. No, we're not. So we're going to go back to this guy here. Okay, cool. That's good. And the last bit is going to be the lubrical. Oh nope, I missed some metallic areas. Need to hit that first. Yeah, and I will be right back. Lubrical green for the cast symbol. Where did you go, other brush? Did you fall on the floor? There you are. You fell between. Well, we're going to keep using this one. Make sure I don't have any remnants of metal, metallic and stuff on my fingers. Give this a nice smooth coat. If I can achieve that. This is why I like sponges. On these flat surfaces, these round brushes are rough to use. That's why Lord Duncan always said 2 thin coats. What I'm actually going to do is use the brush to get the circular area, the outer bit, and then come back with a second pass with a sponge. Maybe even a third pass. As long as I have that nice barrier between. Are you on? Oh, you're on the brush. Uh-oh. What did I get? Where else did I get it on the model? Let's just on the head there. Oh, phew, good. That was really lucky. As I was saying, as long as I've got that buffer, I can bring the sponge around later and not... Oh, well, damn. Not worry so much about it. But I also have to make sure to not stick my finger in half-dried paint in the center of the chest. Alright, and now the head. Can I do this fast enough? Because we have a little trick up our sleeves. No. One layer of paint, 2 layers of hair. We're going to grab another one of these little block sponges. Give it a real try. And I am going to have to go back and clean up around this, but it's the head of the model. It's worth that effort. So here we go, guys. This is pretty much how I do everything. Let me do one more thing so Red Blur can see the whole process. Almost the whole process. Almost. I am not going to do all of the model. And I need to actually, we'll just go ahead and do a little bit. Okay, where are you? Here's you. And there's you. Okay, this is the dark streaking grime for dark green vehicles. This goes over the green. The regular streaking grime goes over everything else, and it does have a slight green tint to it. It's not straight brown, so be aware. And that's one reason I'm using it on the Tau and not other armies. The green tint works with them, but it doesn't look good over things that don't have any green in it. Or, worse yet, have red. So all I'm doing is going over every bit of this, coating it. And normally I would let that dry for an hour, 15 minutes to an hour. It really depends. How I may. This is mineral spirits, white spirit, I think, in Australia. And it'll just come through. And work it down into areas where I want it, to remove it from areas where I don't. Sometimes with a brush, sometimes with a cotton bud. Like here. If I do it like this, it leaves a much grimier look. And if I do something like this and use the solvent to actually streak it and move it. This is the reductive pass I was talking about. Where now I'm moving it into the recesses. And off of these highlights, and if I need to, just dip my brush there, lightly pull it down, and manipulate it, move it where I want, take it where I don't. Yeah, so that's the general look. I'm going to actually go by and remove most of this. I don't want it on here right now. I'm not ready yet. But having a little bit here on the foot, because it's going to be so grimed up anyway, it's not that big a deal. And then here, I'll actually leave it, and I'm just going to go through gently with just a little bit of mineral spirit on the cotton bud. Dab away. From the highlight areas, but leave it all this other area where it's going to be grimy and gross. And that's how I achieve my highlights, because I've already used a highlight color underneath, and I know the grime is going to really darken it down. I end up with the dark nocturne green going through the Lauren Forest green, then being filtered with the enamels to get a brown, a darker brown green where I want the darker brown green, and etc. etc. It's kind of a mix between dry brushing, stippling, actual painting, and slap chop. I'm using the enamels a lot like a speed paint over a volumetric undercoat, like slap chop does. But I'm also using color specifically. Oh, there you go. That's my hour-and-a-half long video showing you the progress on the Ghostkeel. And I got these, a rail rifle and ion gun, Pathfinder special weapons squad mostly done. I've got my breacher squad mostly done. I need to do the weapons on the actual Pathfinder team, and they're mostly done. And now the Ghostkeel is mostly done, minus a few details here and there that need to be sorted out. And here's one that I just saw, and I don't want to forget it. Oh my god, my neighbor is blasting some music, I think. It's hard to tell if it's the neighbor or the cars going down the street. But yeah, anyways, thank you for watching, folks. I hope you have a good day. I'm going to go. I've streamed a lot today and I'm tired. Remember, folks, this is a hobby. If it doesn't bring you joy, don't do it. Or find a different way that does bring you joy. Bye-bye.